We're going to look at some knife martial arts related videos. Look at some videos on top of knife martial arts, knife fighting. Knife fighting is a martial arts form. There we go. I do this sometimes. Search. You want to be reality based in a training if you train knife martial arts, which means it can be helpful to look at. If you're training knife martial arts, it can be helpful to look at other people train the same thing, look at what they do, and also look at actual knife violence, like videos that where a knife is involved in altercation, meaning somebody fighting another person with a knife, or two people with a knife. So, if you're interested in knife martial arts and working to get better at it, it can help you to watch videos what other people do and actual real world knife use, knife fighting videos. I looked at one from the other day. It was in Britain. I don't think I've seen this one. 7 days ago.
Från Skineye Expert IPL. Vår snabbaste metod för
One of the worst places to get stabbed with such a knife is the neck. Neck wounds are often fatal.
1,5 års len hud.
It's a serious neck wound.
We begin at 5 with the violent and chaotic scene.
Morning, lunging towards them with a knife, slashing two in the face and neck. You can see he takes the knife out of the bag and runs at one before turning around and attacking another. Nearby officers quickly respond and disarm him. And moments later,
get out of the way!
They have quite a lot of knife crime in Britain. It's better to be attacked with a knife out in the open than behind closed doors. Like if you're in an office building and somebody pulls a knife intending to hurt you with it, that's a worse scenario than if you're out in public. And if you're walking on the sidewalk, somebody pulls knives at you and comes at you with it, you have a greater chance of using escape as a defense, like running off and getting into store lockers and doors somewhere, running away. Now, if you're behind closed doors, that's the worst case scenario. Like here, this CCTV of knife attack indoors on a shopkeepers. This is inside a gas station or something like this. Guy climbs something. So this might be after closing hours. Oh, okay, yeah. So this is one of the most common attack modes that people use. People are untrained. Trained people don't attack erratically and chaotically. Meaning, I saw a video somebody posted once on Facebook, like a knife martial arts person, but she trains knife martial arts like I do, have do. And it's like, yeah, some people will come leaving comments saying we're unrealistic because it's like, yeah, that's the whole point. It's like a trained person using a knife is going to attack with gracious movements, speed, combos, and things like this. Whereas the average knife attacker is going to be more chaotic, erratic, and more like rudimentary, crude. So I talked about this before. One of the most common ways an untrained knife attacker uses a knife to fight a person is called like the grab and stab and get a sword machine, versus grabbing onto somebody and then keep spamming this attack specifically. Without grabbing the person, getting a hand behind the neck or grabbing onto the clothing, and then start spamming an attack from kind of like down here, either kind of from up, like down, up, or from the side like this, spamming the same attack. Where a more refined way to attack might be, so how, if you think about this, like how could it be more effective? For example, an instinctual way to throw punches might be kind of like this, something like this, movement punches, or be more effective way to throw punches. Well, to throw like straight punches into this. So if you think about this, like the natural instinctual way, a lot of times somebody has a knife intent to do harm to another person. How do they do it? Like a lot of knife attacks happen to the person in this way. They attack the person, they grab onto the person and start spamming this attack. It's called a sword machine or like a grab and stab. So it's like grabbing the person and then attacking the same way repeatedly. Now, when people have been attacked with knives, you find defensive wounds a lot of times on the arms where like they start to protect themselves. So if somebody's attacked with slash like this, repeatedly the same attack several times, the person might put up their hands to defend themselves and they have cuts on their arms from defending themselves. Those are called defensive wounds, which is always which are often found on victims of knife violence. Okay, there's different forms of violence, and there's different forms. Yeah, there's different forms of violence. So knife violence is a form of violence. There's other forms of violence. But here's the point. So people attack other people with knives. Often there's maliciousness that you're seeing in action, and aggression, overt aggression. Meaning it's like kind of always somebody's like exercising aggression here. Okay, so that's the point. We don't have to get over analytical and like break down the meaning of words. But here's the point: there's different types of violence, different type of aggression, different type of weapons. So we look at knife attacks now. So from a knife fighter martial arts perspective, what is a more refined way to attack than this like instinctual way? That somebody has a knife, they want to hurt somebody, they grab onto them and spam the same attack like this. A more refined way would be to get better at grabbing. Maybe learn to do like a tie, like the Muay Thai technique, capture the neck. You get good at, like if you have a strong grip and you like practice catching a neck and holding on to it. Maybe back or getting a better grip. That could be a better place to grab that person. And a more refined way, we don't have to focus on like the capturing one, but it's like, what is a more refined way of attacking? Something that could be more effective rather than grabbing and then stabbing this repeatedly. Well, it could be grabbing, more effective way of using a knife in knife fighting martial arts. Okay, would be grabbing, stabbing, maybe the same way, like grab, stab, stab, maybe a double stab. Now changing the attack, like the way of attack. Instead of stab, 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 it's the same attack, like I stab it down. I can start doing this. Because if you attack it the same way over and over again, if I don't catch it first, I got stabbed once. Now I can react to it, obviously, because it's like you throw the same attack over and over again. So I can keep myself from getting stabbed more times by putting my arms down here. So a more efficient way could be grab the person, stab, see, under rib cage, for example. So stab, where you're practicing attacking like in combat. So you're practicing like also stab, see here, with stab, and then go back here and then changing the target. So it's stab, see. So it's like a combo. 1, 2, 3. So it's 1, 2, 3, for example. And that would be harder to defend because if you come up and like you grab me, and it's like you're coming here and I start blocking it here, and then suddenly it's in my neck and you attack in a different way. That would be my favorite way. Stab in the neck, or stab under rib cage neck. See, like an overhand. That's a more refined way of attacking, and if you realize and practice combos, it's harder to defend against. I mean, it's not just like one attack and one way to defend. And if you keep defending like this, you're not being hit. So someone goes stab, retract, stab on the rib cage here, and then stab to the neck in a fast, like doing it fast. It's really hard to like defend here. Next, you have to figure out a way to defend effectively from an attack from the side, and then now all of a sudden the knife is headed for the neck, and you have to successfully stop attacks coming, 2 attacks coming. This is the 1 attack here and the 3rd attack here. That would be more effective way of using the knife as a weapon. Like stab, for example. That's a combo. So it's doing the classical grab and stab sewing machine attack there. And the guy has been stabbed, or he's been stabbed in the arm now. Sensitive viewers be advised. I already put the scheme up before this. The person, if this is not like a fake stage video, which it could be, the person would have been stabbed like 3 times to the chest. Okay, maybe the gut. So they're going to be bleeding profusely at this point. And which means they're getting weaker by the second. So their fighting ability is going down very quickly. So if you've been stabbed, you're losing blood. Your blood carries oxygen. So one of the effects of losing blood is losing energy and athleticism. So your blood carries oxygen to your organs, like your brain, for example. So if you have less blood, you start getting tired, you can get dizzy and woozy, your vision can get blurry and things like this. So your combat effectiveness decreases if you've been stabbed repeatedly, which is not like a radical claim, really. Now this could be a fake and staged video. And I would guess that the young attacker is fitter and younger. That's the impression I'm getting. Where it looks to me like the athleticism of the attacker, like he's younger and like more energetic. Like he's more athletic than the person being attacked with a knife. That's my energetic scan. Just look at it. I would guess that the attacker is younger and fitter, like in better shape. We'll see if the shopkeeper will be able to get control of the weapon, disarm the person, or do something else that works. Now, those were hammer fists with the bottom of the knife. So some knives will be more effective than others. But with this knife, it has rubber at the bottom. Some knives have like a skull breaker or like a sharp tip at the bottom of it, and hammer fists with it can work. Now, having a knife like this, a lot of knives holding something and then hammer fisting with the bottom of the handle, you're delivering like blunt force trauma. It's like you impact toward it. It can hurt more. Like a hammer fist to the face can hurt, okay? Hurt the person. Now, a hammer fist holding something in your hand, hammering with it can be more effective. No matter what you're holding, okay? Like within certain limits. Like holding a pencil, it can hurt more hammer fisting while holding a pencil or a flashlight or something else. So hammer fisting techniques, like holding a flashlight and hammering with it, can be a lot more effective than just hammer fisting your muscles into the face of the person, like your balls. So he went from, it looks like the attacker is kind of like improvising, where it's like his attack is stabbing and his target's opportunity. It doesn't look like he's like, well, I'm going for the carotid arteries in the neck. It's like I'm trying to maneuver to get my knife into the neck is what I'm aiming for, because I know that's like the best place to attack and one of the best places. Or stabs under rib cage. It looks more like, oh, there's an arm here. Let's start slashing at it. Okay. Or the guy's defending here, and I'm up here, and he starts defending. I can hit him with the ball on the handle. So his hammer fist is what going. Like I said, sensitive viewers be advised. His hammer fist and his cranium with the bottom of the knife there. This is a very brutal attack. This guy might be a dead man walking. This happens sometimes. Things can happen when you get attacked with a knife, where you get stabbed once, and it's like it's already so you're going to be dead. It's just a matter of how long it takes. I saw a video of a knife attack in London where a black man had a knife. He walks up and slashed the guy in the neck, and it was an ambulance like on within a minute there, but he still died. Neck wounds. So neck wounds are one of the worst. Like being stabbed or slashed in the neck is one of the worst places. One of the reasons it's dangerous is because you can't put a tourniquet on the neck. So if I get shot in the biceps, I can put a tourniquet under my shoulder, kind of here. If I get shot right above the knee, I can put a tourniquet just above the wound. I can put a tourniquet there and reduce the bleeding. Okay. Now, if you put a tourniquet on the neck, you're applying a blood shock to yourself, like a rear naked choke, which they move in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And if you get a rear naked and you squeeze on both sides of the neck, within 10 seconds, the person loses consciousness and passes out. So if you cut one carotid artery, it's going to bleed profusely. So, and if you have that wound, you're quickly going to bleed out. And what you can do is apply pressure to it, but you can't get a tourniquet and tie it, because now you're passed out from clamping down on the arteries that are carrying blood to your brain. So it's like you create a more serious problem by working to stop one problem. So you can't put a tourniquet on the neck. It brings you to know he got a poke out, okay. Some kind of stick. I won't be surprised this would be like a fake video. Like it looks real at moments. But the guy doesn't look really powerful in his attacks. He's got like a stick and he's hitting with it, but he looks as if he's kind of weakened physically, which you would expect from all these wounds. Like he got stabbed at the beginning of the fight, like at least 4 times. It looked like to the stomach area. Okay, so he's lost a lot of blood most likely. Now I didn't see any blood in this video. That's far. Like I hope so. Okay, now the first time I see something that looks like it could be blood there. They're winching to hear the backstory of this. He might have died. He might be dead man walking there. He might have died. He might be going to the back room now, calling the cops and ambulance. And he might have died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, in the ICU, intensive care unit. Or he might be one of those people that survived. Now this is like an extreme scenario. And this is like one of the worst case scenario, okay, being locked with an attack in the room. So it's like if you're out in the open and somebody has a knife, you can run away and you have a chance. If you're faster than the person chasing you, you have a chance of getting away. Okay. Now, if you're inside of this, like the worst case scenarios, where it's like a gate that you have to climb up and over to get in there, and now he's in there, and it's like if you once he comes out of that door, this shop owner, that door is closed. Now he's locked in a room with an attacker, and it's hard to get out. Now it's like I'm almost surprised that the guy. It was less than 3 minutes. I'm almost surprised that the guy didn't like die on camera or like collapse on camera. Now notice there, the person with the knife elected to hammer fist. He's at a distance here, which means he could have gone and like stabbed to the neck, gone for a neck stab. From here, with the knife here, he could have gone and like hook stab to the neck, or from here, slash and then stab like a combat between knife fighting. We go from here, and the guys here go slash stab, see, where it says slash to a high level, slash to the head, slide down, stab into the stomach, like to the heart area. So one of the most effective attacks is like this. You can get under the breast plate into the heart, and you have major arteries going to and from the heart. So basically, it would have been more dangerous if you would have, instead of like hammer fisting with the knife, would have gone for from here, gone for a 12 to 6 slash, and then follow up with a 6 to 12 stab, which is like what I've been practicing doing knife fighting. Like a combo here, 1, 2, for example. We'll go for 1, 2 like that, and would be worse. 1, 2, for example, where slashes to the head, slash stab, or slash stab, or slash stab, where he would have gone slash wide here, and then a stab to one of the levels. Go look for another video. Real world. People that come and leaving comments on Hack Like Button can expect to get ignored at best, and most of the time they get blocked. I noticed somebody did it right now. They came and they started writing comments and had to click the like button. I don't like that. I like when people come and write comments in my chat when I click the like button. Go look at some more videos, see if we can find another video of a knife scenario. Knife attacks plural. The phone call to make graphic violent imagery. View discretion advised.
A deadly force encounter is life and death, and you gotta fight like it is. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson out of the Philippines. This one is very graphic, and so if you are squeamish, I just recommend that you pass this one by. And about keeping your life-saving tools not in your environment, but on your person. He doesn't have any threats, and so
in Sweden, uh, it's a crime to leave your home with an iPhone. I think it's bare minimum 6 months. I think they raised it. Okay. I've been caught with a knife in my person many years ago by the cops, and it was a fine. Now they changed the laws now. So I saw somewhere on a Swedish message board people talk about knife attacks and stuff like this, or in the comment section of the video. And it's like 6 months was what people were writing. It was a TikTok video of a woman with a knife, what appeared to be a knife in public. It's like 6 months, 6 months. So I know they raised, I guess that they raised it. Possibly it's like 6 months minimum if you have a knife on in public. It could be. So leaving your home with a knife on you is illegal, and prison time. You can expect prison time. Now that's being out in public. Okay, if you break into somebody else's home and bring a knife into somebody else's home, that's gonna be a more serious thing. It's like, why would you bring a knife? It also makes a person able to use violence against you if you bring weapons to them. So whatever his point, here's the point. It's illegal to have knives on your person in Sweden in public. Now in your home you can have them.
Well, everything's just a normal day at the store here.
I don't know what it's like
And
in the
he's just going
Philippines.
about his
Maybe I can have knives on in public.
business. Everything is
Now,
fine.
knife martial arts is just something that come in handy if you get better at for like home defense. If a brother will break into your house, bring a weapon, and attack you.
Now, I've sped this up quite a bit because there's really nothing to see in this part, but it's important to kind of leave it so that you get a context. And just a few seconds later, this guy is being attacked and he is in a fight for his life. Kind of hard to see immediately because, you know, those blue crates and stuff are getting in the way, but you can just feel
Yeah, it's ugly. Like getting attacked with a knife, that's not something one happen to.
how serious this is. And now you can see
You're unlikely to make it out of that situation without serious harm. Making it out alive, one, and if you make that, and without like unscathed, unharmed.
that the attacker has a very large knife, and this is a fight for his life. And this victim is trying. He's doing his best. Everybody, you can see there that the attacker there's trying to get the knife out of his left hand and into his right hand, or I'm sorry, just the opposite, out of his right and into his left. And this is a crazy fight on the ground. Guy's trying to put his fingers in the victim's eyes. And I think the victim's doing a pretty decent job here of trying to practice those 5Ds plus one. Talk about those in a minute. Trying to keep this knife off of him, trying to keep from being stabbed to death. And he's doing a pretty good job right up until the guy is able to get the knife in his other hand. Once he's able to do that, there's no dominance. He loses
That looks like he got stabbed in the neck area. That's a bad wound.
the dominance. And now, unfortunately, our victim is going to lose this deadly force encounter. Once he's able to get that knife on him, then the injuries start.
Oh,
and it's very quick.
That's really nasty. So he gets like, he inserts it and then pulls. Okay. So I've talked about this before, how you can exasperate the wound. So a lot of knife fighting martial arts is stabbing. So for example, let's say I stab into a body here, and the blade is facing me, okay, and I'm in the body. Now I can retract it and then stab again. So if I stab into a human body here, and I'm in the lung, whatever, I'm in the body, I can pull it out again and then stab again. But it's like I've already acquired this position where the knife is inside the body, and just pulling on it, I create a cut. So stabbing into the body and then pulling on the knife can make exasperate the injury. That's just common sense. Meaning if you stab into here, okay, this is stab and it's in the body. Now if it's in there and just pull on the knife, it's like it's making the injury worse. So what did he do? He stabbed into the person and then pulled him.
Quickly goes from a fight for his life to a murder. And now what we're going to see here is after he secures.
So it looks like this guy was dead within like 2 minutes of the fight starting.
Here's his victim. You're going to see this guy close the door and jimmy this drawer where he pulls a gun out of the drawer, puts it in his waistband, grabs what he wants,
nasty.
walks out, and this is where it ends. let's go back and learn some lessons on this one. I told you that it was
Looks like
graphic.
this,
There are
yeah.
8 lessons on our website. Make sure you look for the link in the video. Note, but also to do this knife table, when you dominate a tool, they're going to try to put that tool in the other hand so that they can use it. Now, thankfully, he wasn't able to do that. There's the leveraging arm. The guy uses his leveraging arm to keep him at bay. And number 2, because once you dominate, you got to distract the dominant, irregular, over. I don't know that the day. So, man, what a significant. But I think if you need to protect.
Here, I've looked this video a few times. It's interesting. Here are pro martial artists like UFC fighters and things like this with a knife. Like pro martial arts or martial arts expert versus knife attacker. Here, 6 martial artists locked with a knife attacker. This shows some of the reality of knife fighting. These are pro combat athletes. Pro boxers and pro UFC fighters or something like that. And they're getting stabbed and smashed several times.
You do your thing.
Against Nathan.
I was surprised, dude.
Jeff Chan.
My strategy was to try to keep a strike.
By the fucking advertisements that you have to watch when you click other people's videos.
The gold of Mars.
The gold of Earth.
Against Nathan.
Disciples Ranton's turn. Jeff had 2 more rounds to.
That t-shirt with skeletons on.
It's way more difficult to defend against a knife attacker than most people think. And instead of looking like the movies, reality is usually much closer to what you see here, even with a trained fighter. And although Jeff Chan displayed for 20 seconds 5 times in a row, the attacker's rubber knives will be covered in red paint, while the contenders will be wearing X-Marshall's custom-made anatomy shirts in order to track knife wounds. The first contender to go was the champion of the first season, MMA fighter Jeff Chan, who now had a chance at redemption, since in season 1, almost none of the participants, including Jeff Chan, survived even a single round against the knife attackers in the same challenge.
Yeah, so this is probably real knife fighting. So these are pro martial arts that didn't survive 1 round with a knife attacker. You also have to think, I thought about this. When you look at this like sparring here, where one of them has a knife, that one has a shirt, and pain off is indicating, and they count like 1, 2, 3. They have like a graphic show, like 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to imagine what these wounds, the effect of these strikes landing in real life. I mean, if it's like, oh, he touched me with the rubber knife on the arm, it counts as a hit on like the scoreboard, okay? Now, if you would have been stabbed in the arm for real, this arm might not be as strong anymore. You might not be able to use this to grapple with it anymore. And it's getting bloody and slippery, and you might not. It's like you can cut muscle fiber, tendons, nerves. There's certain wounds you get where it's like you're not as good at using this arm anymore. Okay, and you're losing blood by the minute. So you have to think about.
To go first, not realizing that it's probably have the hardest because the guys have the most energy.
That's not a knife. That's a knife. This is a knife.
I definitely decided to not try the same strategy as last time, which was go for the double legs this time. My strategy was to try to keep it striking.
All right, is everyone good? We all ready?
I'm not gonna play the whole video. It's already been slashed or stabbed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So you got slashed or stabbed 20 times already. So yeah. Now also, looking at this knife fighting martial arts, this video before, like a lot of times their instincts and reflex in their training is for wrestling and striking and ground and punches and this, and they don't have as much experience with fighting against a knife attacker because there's not like the expertise. They've been training like sort of like, oh, I'm on the ground, protect against the rear naked choke because he's got my back. So it's like protect against the rear naked or something. No, it's like no, protect against the stab coming for your spine. Okay, like the reflex and training is for fighting, like sport fighting, which can be make them harder to defeat than the average Joe, but still there's some differences. So there's more of an importance in controlling the knife arm and like disarm the person rather than trying to get a jiu-jitsu position. It's like I'll try to get an arm boss, but it's like the main point is not being stabbed by the knife and getting the knife out of action. There's another video. There's a Korean knife martial artist. I've been looking at his channel sometimes. He trains knife martial arts as I do. And he trains in more risky ways, I would say. Okay, he throws the knife and sometimes he bounces and almost hits him or something like this. But I've been looking at a knife martial artist. He's got a lot of training videos. He trains knife martial arts. A Korean fellow. Let's search see if we can find the knife martial arts. See if we can find it. No, I didn't find it. Yeah, knife fighting martial arts is brutal. There's training to attack with a knife, there's training to defend against a knife. And there's training to defend against the knife armed attacker without you having a knife. So training to defend against a person attacking with a knife without having a knife. There's training defending against a person attacked with a knife while having a knife. And then there's different types of scenarios. So you can train defend against a knife attacker. You can train attacker with a knife. You can train a knife fighter where you have a knife, the other person have a knife. So on and so forth. Different types of training. I've been training knife martial arts on and off for quite some time. I figured some things out while training. I'm gonna finish up. Don't try anything you see me doing this video. Well, you've seen done in this video at home.